Welcome to Tidbit Talkin. Have some ideas about a fictional thing, each one featuring different levels of seriousness. Spoilers, here we go. Cloaked Beldam must normally garner small profits by buying back the purity box for a cheaper price than she sold said stuffed stalker for once folks get desperate after failing to open it. The Cross Knots suck at mass attacking because they were all just aiming for the red spot and thus got really confused, especially because their shirt armor is roughly the same size as his hat. It's all some junk about friendly coworker preserving safety reflexes inhibiting their hero halting hoopla. It doesn't become a regular Goomba for the rest of its life, resting at an inn or whatever regenerates the wings. Also, apparently getting beat up by a people-protecting plumber does too, if he's in a good mood. Mario isn't so much concerned about these curses because they ain't really all that different from his usual transforming suits. Captain Collection can't get the one star piece that's basically right next to him because his vision isn't good enough to find any on his own. The Gold Fuzzies must camouflage themselves amongst coins and question blocks. These supposedly sinister spells must also spread to anyone who's currently traveling with Mr. Video Game. Hence why every partner can be influenced by all of them. Everything's super clean there because none of them sleep. It's clearly labeled as a secret entrance, so nobody tries fully patching the tree up after a storm or something blows away covering crap. Flurry must be able to sense the audience that follows Mario around and observes his battles. Hence her feeling like going along on his journey is a perfectly natural thing to do. Oh, and they set the stage up every time because among them are dudes with special skills supremely suited for building and carrying stuff. Most of them are friendly former foe folks like those from Monstro Town, looking for simple entertainment while traveling. While others, like those who throw damaging crap, are enlisted Koopa Troop members currently also on vacation and hoping to see that plumber perish for funsies. TEC doesn't bring up a why prompt ever because his naughty bosses hate the other most common variable for almost stealing their thunder. He's also probably the only computer period on Mushroom World's moon. Fanboy Fellow is willing to cover even his windows with Peach posters because he doesn't like seeing into areas without her precious visage present. Leveling Up fills the special move meter deal because the crowd is always absolutely ecstatic to see fights with a stronger hero, even the evil ones, because that means his defeat brings more impressive glory for Lord Bowser. Basically, nobody used the Treble Center before, because in addition to most rogue porters being greatly selfish, they didn't want to pay the toll to get to that building for a job that might not make up for the aforementioned charge. It won't restore star power because the minor leaguers can't help but think about how they're not yet famous as they drift off to sleep. These bandits' breakup condition may have been successfully stealing stuff from the great Gonzales. His father might run the shop in Petalburg. The amazingly irritated Koopa King must have seen one of Mario's matches on TV, probably at that bar in Rogueport after finding nothing noteworthy in that just-mentioned Koopa village. This guy could have very well been left behind when the 1,000-year door first got closed. The number of posters in this lobby must be dictated by how well they are selling in their gift shop. The player can't buy any because it's against the fighter's contract to take Glitz Pit's merchandise away from fans. That personal poster in the champs room could very well be from a picture taken right at their title-granting victory. Much must have gotten sealed with a miniature version of the magic that locked the millennia-old entryway. These curtains in the soldiers' quarters are conveniently a color Pink Princess prefers because they were originally white but got washed alongside said fellows' uniforms. One reason for Zestie's pissiness may be her only being able to acquire cake mix from the money-sucking Pianta parlor. Dupless might be using bell tolling to hide a transformation sorcery generating chant. Him traveling back and forth through reality's fabric must be a means to check whether or not the P is still missing from that keyboard. The chest containing Atomic Apparition may have been an attempt to conceal what he was really hiding. Basically a misdirect kind of thing meant for forcing people to think they've won and then suddenly get ghost gutted. Not having a name can help one avoid damage in this game because it's a story actively being narrated, and thus describing such an event is too hard without a proper title to specify who's being harmed. Fourth wall breaks such as Crump doing his thing over here could also be representative of tech monitoring stuff. Throwing bobbery is seemingly vital for his detonation because the consequential accelerated speed of his back helm rudder deal is what lights that fuse. Delightfully deceitful dude must have healed himself with rations he stole while disguised as Four Eyes. Cammy may have cast a spell that prevented the Super Bomb from destroying Twilight Town so its inhabitants could get interrogated by Bowser afterwards. Mario couldn't carry the Ultra Stone he found in the first game over to this one because that means all his souped up friends in the core Mushroom Kingdom would get weaker and thus the land would wind up totally defenseless without him and Luigi around. The newest rich guy in Rogueport is that West Side Turtle man who does nothing all day. Goom Goom goes gaga over practically everyone because he was eating that couple's dessert by himself since he got to Keel Hall Key. Pennington doesn't find those spills on the floor suspect because he's used to seeing melted snow from his shoes during childhood. The fact that spirits can pass on whenever they please in Mario's universe may be what allows Booze to exist as an entirely separate species. Her ex may have died, hence why it's only good memories associated with these earrings. Oh, and she probably met Wario at one point. He does love money, and this train is a symbol of it. Puzzle-preferring Penguin probably believes this gentleman's Luigi because he hears about said super sibling much more than Mario, as the rich residents of Poshley Heights are bigger fans of green greatness since he's owned at least one mansion so far. Thus, they have his appearance-mimicking badge stored in a sacred place out of respect. Corruption-crushing computer might have been able to hang on a little bit because those two soldiers didn't press their buttons at quite the same time. That Ultra Hammer may have been used to build the town gallows. It was sealed away so the carpenter crew didn't have to deal with a reminder that they built a gallows. Frankie's ring got up there via him hassling a fool for protection money so hard it got lodged into the aforementioned moron's skull as he flew through the air. This Far fellow, of course, meant the world-famous fart-loving purple overalls adorned individual as well. The Traveling Sisters 3 are cold while Mario isn't because of his frequent use of fire magic. Crystal stars are what's letting everybody breathe in space right now. They think that simple tile memorization puzzle is adequate security because they don't believe non-androids can learn new patterns quickly. Also, TEC probably screwed with the place's protection protocols. Peach must have been transported to lethal lunar land through this thing when she got captured. She wouldn't bother mentioning it to her shroom-favoring champion in those emails because they both teleport via warp pipe all the freaking time. Thus, this ain't so noteworthy. The X-Nauts developed these feeling fine badges so they wouldn't get harmed by PhD-originating friendly fire. Cyber Quiz Chomp must have been used to test their local supercomputer's problem-solving efficiency and memory skills. One can't flee that fight because dude doesn't want anybody alive capable of explaining how an android bathes. Those Ultra Mushrooms were stored up there for whoever gets too exhausted while maintaining these gears. Grotus agreed to fund Von Grapple 2.0 solely on the condition that his defeat would comically launch Crump into outer space like that. His accounting is fearful. He funds an entire army that fights endlessly, after all. A spell that makes all pipes initially reject Bowser must have been cast to help defend the Mushroom Kingdom just a tiny bit. Beldum likely forced Cross Leader to implement a measure that made the X-Naut Fortress self-destruct so he wouldn't have enough resources left to try and oppose the Shadow Queen. Being Mini reduces strength but not defense because the enemy has a really hard time landing an effective blow on something that small. The super strong normal enemies such as those Chain Chomps and Piranha Plants on the lower 100 trial floors are Koopa Troop members who voluntarily underwent harsh training in the place for the sake of bolstering their king's amazing reputation. Prince Mush had a second belt on him already because he hoped to train with Jolene one day. Luigi thought the fruit parfait recipe was of incredible importance because it's the last thing Mario asked about before that letter from their princess came. In addition to Hook being lifeless, Gloomtail hadn't received a letter from her in a good while because the Shadows were too busy trying to resurrect their queen to deliver any. The Crystal Stars must have developed sentience over many years due to the restrained magic leaking from their creator. They decide to serve Sinister Stomping Savior now based on the fact that nobody they dwelt near wanted her to win this time around. These island dudes never got clean because that's not dirt. Rather, it's a second type of fungus growing on their normal bits. This got Rin while the party was in the Palace of Shadows fighting the final story boss. Endings are a pain, but all of you are fantastic. See ya.